Morgan Stanley just wiped out 2,500 jobs in one move, and they did it after a record profit in 2026. If you thought your seat was safe because the bank had a record year, you just got a master class in how Wall Street actually works. This is not restructuring. This is a calculated execution. If you work for one of the three banks that are on my 60-day watch list, you need to listen to every word of this very carefully, or you're next. First, Morgan Stanley just got 3% of their total workforce gone. The cuts hit investment banking, trading, wealth management globally. In particular, they eliminated private bankers and back office support roles. But notice who they didn't touch: 15,000 financial advisors. Why? Because they are revenue. On Wall Street, there is a simple rule. If you are not the person bringing money into the building, you're a line item waiting to be deleted. Look, I came from banking. I understand this beast. Banks are brutal. This is not a coincidence. This is what I call post-bonus trap. Banks wait for Q1 and Q2 for a reason. They pay you bonuses, so you grind throughout the year, and then they look at payroll and ask one question: who's expensive? And they start eliminating people before the next compensation cycle starts. Every major bank runs the same playbook. Bonuses are paid, Q1 closes, expensive headcount disappears. Pay attention. Morgan Stanley reported record revenue in 2025 and still went ahead and fired people. Does that sound like a struggling business to you? No, it's a strategy. But the real reason this is happening is something most employees inside the bank don't understand. Right now, banks have what executives call a low attrition problem. That's corporate language for people aren't quitting. Usually, people leave for better jobs, and banks save money naturally. But right now, everyone is staying put, holding on to their seat. And to a CEO, your loyalty becomes an unnecessary expense. So basically, they're saying, we don't want you here. Get out. And they're booting people. So what's the solution for the bank? AI. AI has become the perfect corporate smokescreen. They tell Wall Street they're innovating with automation. But what they're really doing is cutting headcount. They aren't replacing tasks. They're replacing people. And cutting people is the fastest way to boost stock prices. And Wall Street loves layoffs and rewards them. AI is the perfect excuse to whitewash layoffs. It sounds innovative, progressive. That's what's happening here. Now, my 60-day watch list. Listen up. Morgan Stanley is just the first domino. If you work at Bank of America, Citibank, or Wells Fargo, you should be watching this very carefully, because these three banks are staring at the exact same numbers Morgan Stanley just used: low attrition, expensive headcount, AI-ready roles. And when those three things show up together, cuts follow. Watch out. These three banks have a very high probability of layoff announcement in the next 60 days. If you work at Bank of America, Citibank, and Wells Fargo, you need to move now. Similar news is coming for you. But there is one specific department inside those three banks that insiders say could see up to 15% reduction before June. If you work in that department, your key card might already be on a timer. I've got the internal data on which job titles and why these three banks are next. But that's the next episode. Watch your back. This is a Grind Hotline. This is Hard Saying. Take good care.